I'm going to show you how to make a graph using your ecocolumn data from Google Sheets. So the first thing that you want to make sure is that your days are like this. And remember, they don't go 1, 2, 3. They're showing an elapse of time. So we took data on the first day, and then 8 days later, we took data again on day 9. So this is 9 days since the beginning of the experiment. The other thing we don't want is we don't want units in the actual boxes here, the cells. So I'm going to erase this centimeters there, and I'm going to put it up here instead in my headings. And that's because Google Sheets does not like to graph numbers and letters together. So you have to put your units at the top. And so this group forgot to put their units in a lot of them. So make sure that you have your units here, like in the top. Water temperature is in Celsius. So, but they should not be in the cells themselves. All right, so once you have chosen the 2 pieces of data that you're going to graph on your own, let's say I'm going to graph cucumber height. I'm going to click on that column, which is column I. And well, before I do that, let's take a look at where our day numbers are, because we're going to need that in a minute. So our day numbers start at number 1 on column A, row 2. So you're going to need that number in a minute, A2. And it ends here at A12. So column A, row 12. And you're going to need that information in just a minute. Then I'm going to go back to the one I want to graph, and I'm going to graph cucumber height. So I'm going to click that column. Then I'm going to click Insert, and I'm going to click Chart. And boom, it made me a line graph. But the line graph's missing some information. It's missing an x-axis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to go over here, and the chart editor comes up. If you accidentally exit out, if you just click and double click on the graph itself, it will open up the editor. So we want to go to Setup, and we want to click Add X-Axis. And then right here, you're going to click this little grid. And we're going to select a range. And now we're going to enter those numbers we recorded for days. A2 colon A12. Okay. And then look, it put in my days. So it added my days to this graph right here. All right, but we're still missing some information like the axes labeled. So now we're going to customize it. So first, I don't like my title. I'm not that happy with this label, and we don't have a label for our x-axis. So I'm going to click over here. I'm going to click Customize, and I'm going to click, oh, I'm sorry. First, yes, Customize. Chart and axis titles. First of all, my chart title, I need to fix. So I'm going to say cucumber height in ecocolumn over time. Great. Beautiful. Now what about my x-axis? I can either click on it over here like I did, I double-clicked, or I can click it over here in my pull-down menu. And so the x-axis they call the vertical axis, which is the y-axis they call the vertical axis. And so I'm just going to put here height of cucumber in centimeters. Perfect. Then I'm going to do my horizontal, and my horizontal is day number. And now I've got a great graph. And so however you are told to submit it for this year, you can either download it as an image and then upload it. So however the submission is for your teacher or for me, that's how you will submit it. You can also copy and paste it into however you are to submit it. All right, now what if you are doing, so I'm going to drag this down and out of the way, and I'm going to show you with your water, because we did not always have water readings. So like, for example, we didn't always have water nitrate test strips. So some of the data is blank, and that's fine. So like, especially up here, we didn't start our water data right away. So let's say I'm going to do water pH, and I'm going to click on it. And again, I'm going to insert a graph, a chart. Let me actually move over there. So I'm going to insert a chart. And it's going to be a very uninteresting graph, but you can do that. And it's going to start uh, really not on day one. So we didn't do our data on day one. So let's look at where we did start our data. We started it, I believe, on day a little bit later. Let's take a look, actually. I believe we started it on day 18. So we'll do A5 through A12. So again, I'm going to double click it. I'm going to do setup. I'm going to do add x-axis with the little grid. And I'm going to do A2, nope, sorry, not A2. I think we said A5 to A12. Okay, and so now we have our graph here, but we are missing some information. So now I've got to go back and figure out what I did wrong. And you know what? If you are like, I don't know what I did wrong, so you can actually just delete the graph and you can start over, because sometimes it gets a little nuts and you have to then go back and figure out what is happening. So it looks like we started on day 18 with that data. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to insert, I'm going to create a chart, and then I'm going to fix my x-axis. And it could be actually an easier way to do this. Let's see. Insert chart. There's my pH. And let's actually, let's just do A2. So starting at A2 colon A12. And there we go. So we know our data didn't start until day 18. No problem. That actually is much better. So we have our water pH, but again, we're going to fix our title. We're going to fix this, and we're going to add this, which how I showed you last time, which is under customize here. And we have our axes. Let me show you real quick some data that needs to be fixed before you can actually do this. So take a look at this one right here. For this one, these people put their date and date together, so that won't work. So you're going to need to fix that. So you might just go ahead and insert a column. Oh, by the way, I clicked this and then I right clicked. You can also click insert a column to the left. And here I'm just going to put my day number here, and take a look on their data. It doesn't start at A2, it starts at A3 and it goes to A14. So you have to, however you do your data, so I'm going to put 1, and it looks like they have this here. So we're going to delete this part because their data is a little bit off. So I'm going to delete that row. And now we're going to go 2, 3. Let's see how they did that wrong. It's not day 2. It's actually 8 days later, so it's day 9. And then from the 30th to the 31st was to day 10. So these people need to go back and figure out how many days have elapsed. So they did their day numbers incorrectly. So again, your day numbers should look like this. Let me pull this graph aside. And it should be how many days have elapsed from day 1 to day 9 to day 11 to day 18 to day 22. So 64 days since we planted and created our ecocolumns is how that data should look. So that's the first thing to fix. The second thing to fix is if you're going to graph this, again, They have their soil temperature should have the units here at the top and not in the cell. So you need to get rid of the letters in the cell itself. Otherwise, it won't graph. And notice they have two dots here. It should be one dot. The Google Sheets will be confused unless it's in this a good format. So again, I'm going to get rid of the C's. And so again, you have to have just numbers before you can do that, anything with that. All right, so that should give you some help on how to create your graphs and some of the things that you need to fix before you're able to graph on your ecocolumn data.